This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Well, here we are, everybody. Past the Royal Rumble. Our questions about the Royal Rumble have been answered. For better or worse, we're going to go through all of the results that happened last night in Indianapolis, Indiana. Got some mixed reviews, as you'd imagine. For myself, I know for many of you, very mixed reaction. But what PLE doesn't have a mixed reaction, and what results could there have been for the Women's and Men's Royal Rumble in which you wouldn't have complaints? The answer is there is no such thing. Like, the limit does not exist there. But we're going to go through it, and I'll give you my thoughts, which you may or may not disagree with. But before we get to any of that, I want to welcome some new patrons who have joined us over on Patreon. Several of you have over the last day or so. And I want to give a shout out to Budgie Smuggler. I'm not sure if that's one of those fake names. I don't think it is. If not, a cool name. Rowanth. I think I got that right. Amber Sherrill, and Alex Blundell. Thank you all for joining us over on Patreon, and I hope you get your ad-free experience that you were looking for, and the exclusive After Dark show. If you got on the NXT Plus and higher, you got that you got the After Dark show done by Luis every single week. That is getting rave reviews, and that's exclusive to those tiers and higher, of course. So let's just, first of all, get the elephant out of the room. If this is an elephant, maybe it's just my own ego, but I totally bombed the men's Royal Rumble. I said there was no way Jey Uso was going to win. I was wrong, as is very often here on this show. But I was wrong about Jey Uso. I was also wrong about the Women's Rumble winner, although Charlotte was a close second for me. We'll dive into the men's Rumble in just a little while, but we'll start with the women's, right? We'll start with the match that we all kind of knew was going to open the show. Anytime there's a men's and women's equivalent match, the women are usually going to go first. I don't know if they've ever gone last other than WrestleMania 35 with Becky and Charlotte and Ronda Rousey, but certainly this was one that had some kind of more controversy around it than even, I think, the Jey Uso win in a lot of ways. But before we get to the Charlotte victory, we had some fun moments in this matchup. Now, I'm not going to go through every single elimination or every single entrant. You guys know I'm going to hit the highlights here, which, for me, the first thing that pops in my mind is Jordynne Grace, right? She is just a monster, and she's so small, yet her frame is incredibly muscular. She is now with WWE. She's not part of TNA anymore, from what I understand. I think they made that clear in the broadcast, too. So Jordynne Grace with the spot on Piper Niven. I mean, my God, that's incredible. I mean, it's at least double her body weight. Doing that, was a fire and carry slam, or I might get the name of the move wrong, but the result's the same. She put Piper Niven on her shoulders and then drove her to the mat. And there was so much force that it actually forced Jordynne Grace to be ricocheted off of the body of Piper Niven. Incredible. And that was a holy-ass moment, and deservingly so. Now, we've seen women do this before. We've seen, we've seen Rhea Ripley do things with Nia Jax that are pretty impressive, given the size difference. We've seen Bianca Belair do her finish to Piper Niven as well, and that's pretty damn impressive. But the size difference between Jordynne Grace and Piper Niven was probably the most striking, just incredible. So I expect big things from her. If they're going to put her on a full-time basis, I'm not sure. But she could do big things. No doubt about it. Now, the other spot, is it a potential Bianca heel turn here where she gets jealous of Naomi reuniting with, was it Jordynne Grace? I think it was. Why is it something that Naomi's not able to do? If you're in a tag team, you're not in a relationship. It's most of the time strictly business. Why is Bianca acting jealous as if Naomi's not permitted to do that and hug somebody else. What? No one's even talking about this, but I'm not quite understanding what grounds that Bianca Belair has to stand here as if she's confused and playing the jealous psycho girlfriend role. On top of that, not only are you in a tag team, but also it's in a match that's every woman for herself. So you're going to also get angry in a match in which, you see the double insanity here. I don't understand that. Whatever. But I thought this was a match that I know a lot of people kind of crapped on because of the finish, but it had its moments on top of, yes, the return of Nikki. Yeah, I don't care about that. Although we will talk about it. Of Alexa Bliss. And might arguably be one of the biggest pops of the night. Now I'll have to get some notes from some of you who went, and I know there were some of you, and I'm interested to hear if indeed Alexa Bliss got the biggest pop of the night or one of. I would think yes. Seeing her back was cool, and seeing her back in a way that's paying tribute to Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, is absolutely cool to see too. Still carrying Lily. Or is that the name of the doll? It's been so long. And kind of an updated version of her dark character. Crowd loved it. She seemed excited to be back. The question is, was this a one-off or was it something of, okay, I'm back for full time now? I don't know. I'm not sure, but she looked like she never had a kid. I mean, it's incredible. She popped out another human being, and it looks like she didn't even eat breakfast, So kudos to her. And she looked good in there. The crowd was absolutely behind her. And it was a fun moment. And I know that during her entrance, Cole was, pretending to played the role also of the WWE fans online. And if we can retire one phrase on top of the what chance, maybe here's what we can also add to that. Can we also add to that list the term dirt sheets? What exactly are the dirt sheets, Wade? That's an outdated term that needs to be retired. Do you just mean online? Is that what you mean? There's no, these websites that are underground news, information, rumor, those sites don't exist anymore. Or if they do, no one's paying attention. So what you really mean is what people were talking about online, what most people were talking about, the trends you're seeing. How is that dirt sheets? I mean, that's just social media. I mean, is that the term you're using now? I guess it's supposed to be derogatory towards the fans that think they know everything. That's just kind of a catch-all phrase. Is anytime that the rumors are wrong, it's dirt sheets, and anytime they're right, someone's in the company leaking things. Yeah. Also, Triple H took a shot at the media too during the post press conference, and he's talking about how how these media outlets, some media outlets feel like they know what we're gonna do, and this guy talked to this guy who talked to a source who talked to somebody, and he's trying to play off and it's like, well, actually, bro, there are a lot of credible sources out there that you do have leaks in the company, you do have moles in the company that are still there. And a lot of leaks that come out are often true. So I don't know what it is. They just really took a shot at the internet community, which is really just everyone, by the way. Being on the internet is no longer a niche thing. These terms that they're using are acting like it's the mid-90s and, your friend down the street has the internet and you don't yet, or you still have dial-up and your friend has broadband. Remember Roadrunner? Anybody have Roadrunner up here in the Northeast when that was a thing? It's this kind of like, oh, wow, what did you hear online? Did you see this website? Those things don't exist anymore. Everyone has the internet all the time in their pocket every day, every second of every day. So this, this idea that being in the rumor mill or just trying to talk about rumors that are going around is somehow being a smart mark or whatever. No, that's just your general audience. That's it. That's just everyone. That encapsulates everyone who watches the show. I don't know who you think you're targeting anymore. Some 14-year-old geek that lives in his mom's basement and thinks he knows everything about wrestling. Is that the target audience that you think you have, that you are slamming? Is that... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that demographic is non-existent. Okay. Anyway, beyond the kind of jab at wrestling fans just generally and their outdated use of terms, Alexa Bliss's moment was a lot of fun. Charlotte coming out was underwhelming as expected. People, and I say this respectfully to Charlotte, and I know a lot of people just don't want to see Charlotte, are over her, and I understand that. Much like Becky Lynch to me, not only, I mean, yes, I have respect for them and everything they've done. I don't need to see them anymore. And I don't mean that in you're terrible, you're not needed, or you wouldn't add value to the product, I should say. But you've done it all. We've seen you as champion 644 times. You chasing a championship is no longer exciting. That died a long time ago. You've main evented WrestleMania. You've been in Hell in a Cell matches. You've been in Money in the Bank women's ladder matches. You've been in every conceivable championship match. You've won every conceivable championship other than the new ones they created with the women's Intercontinental and US, sure. Like, to me, if Charlotte retired tomorrow, I would say job well done. Cool, man. Like, that's what I would say. I don't need to see Charlotte anymore. All the time she was away, I was talking about her because I was predicting her to come back, and it was like 2 years like she took to come back because she got a new face on top of a new knee and took some time off, and good for her. But her winning the Rumble, first of all, sure, add it to the list of accolades. It really does nothing to help her. This is really all designed, I hope, to help Tiffany Stratton. Because if Charlotte wins the championship here at WrestleMania, no one is going to care. Charlotte is playing the heel in this one, too. If WWE thinks anything else, they are fooling themselves. Charlotte will get booed. Because still, after many years, people still do not want to see Charlotte as champion. Because they know that. They've seen that movie before. On repeat. I really don't think anybody wants to see Charlotte in a championship match, much less win the thing. Now, on the plus side, Tiffany Stratton's going to get a nice rub with a great match with Charlotte. I do believe these two are going to have a hell of a match. Is this all designed to put Tiffany Stratton over and retain the championship at WrestleMania? Probably, although we have a long road to get there. Don't forget, WrestleMania, guys, is like third week of April this year. Latest I can ever remember it being. So we've got a long journey to get there. A lot of promos, a lot of twists and turns, maybe a lot of additions or subtractions to the match. Injury, who knows? But if the match were tomorrow, I think that the fans would boo Charlotte, cheer Tiffany Stratton. They'd have a good match. Charlotte would try to cheat to win. Maybe her dad's at ringside. I mean, who knows? And she ends up losing to Tiffany Stratton, goes back into, her hole of hiding for 6 months and kind of slowly comes back in and out of wrestling. I don't need Charlotte full time. She is one of the greatest in-ring women's wrestlers that WWE has ever had, despite what you may think of being bored of her character. And her character has been played out in every conceivable way. I hate to say her career is over. Obviously, I can't tell her that. WWE can't even really tell her that. The only person that really would tell Charlotte that her career is over is herself. Right? But I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some of you out there who disagree with me. But with Charlotte here, it's not a signal we're moving forward. It's a signal that for the women's division, we haven't found anyone that can compete to the star level of Charlotte yet. We haven't found her replacement yet. Because if they did, they wouldn't need Charlotte to come back and win the Rumble. The women's match, other than that, it was okay. I didn't love it. I thought it was fine. No returns of Becky, which I wasn't sad about. I feel the same way about Becky Lynch, by the way. I know she didn't appear, but with Becky Lynch, if she retired tomorrow, I know many of you love Becky, and I'm not disrespecting Becky. Just me personally, if she were to retire tomorrow, stand up, I'd give her flowers. I really would. Hell of a run, but thank you, and thank you and good night. That's what I would like to say, because I have no interest. Like, nobody's missing Becky. Most fans are. You aren't hearing Becky. We want Becky. Like, I'm not hearing that either. What people really wanted in that match, is what we didn't get in number 30. Now, people still cheered for Nikki Bella, which is really surprising to me. I mean, she got a mildly warm response, but everyone was waiting to explode for AJ Lee. Everyone. And it was highly disappointing that she wasn't there. Now, Alexa Bliss certainly helped. She was a genuine surprise for a lot of people. Cool. And I hope that she sticks around for a while. But the return that everybody really, I think, was looking for was AJ Lee. That's what they wanted. And we didn't get it. Now, could we still get it in some kind of weird match with Punk? Yeah, we could. Punk and Seth versus, or rather, Punk and AJ versus Seth and Becky. That's been a match that's been discussed for a couple of years now. It's possible. I don't know if AJ has any interest in wrestling anymore, though. She is in such high demand. It's wild. She is, I mean, I've never, at least in the women's division, I've never encountered such an anticipated return on the women's side of things over a sustained number of years. So it was highly disappointing. I don't need to see and didn't need to see and didn't want to see Nikki Bella doing her stripper pole dance at the top of the entranceway, on her way to the ring. I just don't care about any of that. And I never did. She's a diva in a woman's world. And that's what she's always been to me. Just, I don't know. But anyway, having her and John Cena backstage must have been fun, huh? No tension there. I mean, maybe they're on great terms. That's more likely than not. But I'm imagining it was still kind of awkward if, John Cena and Nikki cross paths. I'm sure they did somehow, some way. So, that said, the Women's Rumble was okay. It was fun. I'd give it a C+. And with Charlotte winning, it certainly didn't help the women's match, but I don't think it didn't devastate it either. Charlotte is a safe choice. She's a safe choice from the perspective of, you've got a couple boxes checked with her. Number 1, star power. She's right at the top of the list. Number 2, in-ring ability. Check. Right? Number 3, credibility. Check. She's got the credentials. The problem is she's worn out her welcome so much. Here's a question. Has anyone, men or women, I don't care what era, maybe I'm over dramatizing this, has there ever been a star the caliber of Charlotte that has taken a couple years off and come back to a less interested audience than what she got last night? Now, it wasn't quiet, but the fans were like, yeah. Hey, Charlotte, good to see you. Cool, you're back. All right, now go on in there, you little rascal, and get eliminated. Don't win it. No. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you adding some star power, maybe coming down to the final 3 or 4, and say you're just going to get knocked over the top, right? You go have fun, kid. No, that's not what happened. That's what should have happened, I think. But it's for Charlotte Flair. I mean, she's tried playing the babyface. It's not going to work. So definitely a heel here. And yeah, so that was not a fun win, but I know why they did it. And yeah, so all right, let's move on. I've already spent 20 minutes talking about the women's match. I didn't talk about every little nook and cranny, every little elimination, all the interactions. I know there's things I probably missed, but I hit on the big items, at least with the women's Rumble. So DIY and Motor City Machine Guns, best of 3 falls for the tag team titles. DIY get the first fall, and then Motor City Machine Guns get the second fall, as expected. And then DIY end up defeating Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin in 14 minutes to retain the tag team titles. That's because the Street Profits showed up at ringside wearing hoodies. Ford distracted the referee while Dawkins hit Shelley with a crutch, and then DIY hit meet in the middle on Shelley, and then Ciampa pinned him. So, Profits are back. Cool. I mean, that is kind of a good thing. Profits need an identity. They need to do something different, and maybe this is the start of it. So, alrighty. Let's go. Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, ladder match for the WWE Championship. Good, I mean, not good, really good match here. It exceeded even my expectations. Maybe that's because of my disdain for Cody. This was a long match, though. 25 minutes. Deservingly so. This program has delivered on a lot of levels. And it was the outcome that we all saw. We all saw Cody Rhodes winning. That I don't think many, if anybody, was seriously with a straight face predicting that Cody Rhodes would drop it to Kevin Owens, 2 months, 3 months out of WrestleMania. Not going to happen. But still fun. No interference. And that may be a general theme throughout this entire PLE is there was the lack of returns. And I know a lot of you say, oh, that's all you talk. I don't talk about returns. Returns are one of the most crucial and exciting moments that professional wrestling can deliver. Pro wrestling is built, one of the pillars, not all of them, of course, quality matches, presentation, promos. Yeah, of course. But returns, there is nothing like the moment of return, like a return when the music hits. And that's what most people YouTube. Most people don't YouTube 5-star match with, X and Z, whoever. It's The Rock returns too. Stone Cold returns too. The Undertaker returns too. Like, go and look. So that may be, though, on that same point, one of the themes here of just the Triple H era in general is he doesn't seem to be, or maybe the chips haven't fallen where they should, and it's not all him, but his general theme for most PLEs that he's been in production of and been responsible for under his watch have not included so many returns that we expected them to have. Now, he's given us CM Punk twice, Randy Orton, right? Undertaker during some of these Raws. Like, yeah, okay, fine. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we need to, as fans, start lowering our expectations from the return side of things or crazy interference. And maybe that's something that we need to do, because every time that we decide collectively that, somebody's going to come in and interfere, there'd be a perfect time for a return. And then how often are we sitting here post PLE, including myself, going, oh my God, no returns, no big, where was this guy, where's this guy? I mean, go down the list for this PLE, right? No Brock, although things seem darker for Brock as he was named, I think, exclusively in the lawsuit, the sexual allegations lawsuit. So Brock is not looking good for WrestleMania. So, but if you thought there was a small chance, then you were disappointed. Brock was not there. We did not get AJ Lee, which, as I mentioned earlier, really disappointed so many people. We did not get Big E. Big E was one of the ones that you're thinking, all right, but he was part of the pre-show, and you're like, oh, well, I guess he still could, but so no Big E. He's out. There's another one, right? Omos. No Omos. I know that he was rumored, and I know some of you are like, oh, who cares? But he was another rumor that was floating around for days prior to the Royal Rumble. And you're thinking, well, okay, Omos, not exactly my favorite character, but he'd be a good person to put in the Royal Rumble. And that didn't happen. No Randy Orton. And not just no Randy Orton in the Rumble, even more importantly, no Randy Orton here during this match. And perhaps they did it to make sure that Cody didn't look like he needed help. Probably, if Randy was actually physically available to, then the reason they didn't do it is to simply make sure that you don't have Randy Orton have it look like Cody needs Randy as a crutch. Because he's going to be targeting Kevin Owens. And he didn't show up. No Becky Lynch. And we'll get to the biggest non-appearance in the Men's Rumble in just a minute here. But the match on its own, standing on its own here, Cody and Kevin, I can't remember a ladder match or a TLC match or even a hardcore match in recent memory where I was sitting there going, oh my God, I could feel what they were feeling. As close to feeling it as you can without actually doing that, right? The ladder bumps they took, oh my God. I was just cringing. Not in a bad way. Not in a way that I was saying, oh my, you guys are idiots. No, just respect for both guys. Yes, both guys. Respect, a transfer of pain, some kind of translucent pain that was able to come through my computer screen. And concern. That was the other thing. I'm sitting there going, I'm waiting for the ref to just stop the match. The bump, one of the two bumps really got me. One was a bump I've never seen, which was the one where Kevin Owens was slammed on the spine of the ladder while it wasn't flat in the ring. You guys know what I'm talking about. It was on its side, and they never bump on that side because of obvious reasons. It's just like landing on a metal rod. There's just no give. And yes, some of the rungs were worked. Some of the supports were worked. They kicked them off. Go and try that on your metal ladder in your garage. It ain't happening, right? As light as the aluminum is, it is a tough material. And you're not going to kick off a support beam like that. Like, fine, they were worked, but it is what it is. But the structure of the ladder is largely real because it has to be to support the weight of the wrestlers. Otherwise, safety issues. So when Kevin landed on that, I'm laying there in my bed and I go, oh, my wife's like looking at me. I'm trying not to wake up my kids and I'm just like, oh my God. I just like groaning. And the other spot I was concerned about, and there's others, two others now that I'm thinking of it. The suplex that Kevin Owens gave to Cody off the second or top rope onto the ladder where both guys, they had to stop the match and that may have been a legit spot where they had to stop and make sure both guys were okay. That was nasty. And then, of course, the finish bump, which had Kevin Owens almost being pile driven through the ladder that was outside the ring by the announce desk. And he was driven through it. I mean, I don't know how, you can't practice this. It was just divine intervention. Kevin hit it perfectly. So you hit the weak spot. So it took the fall for you, but his head went perfectly between a set of rungs and then nearly spiked his head on the floor. I mean, holy, just damn. I was fearing for the safety of both men. Yeah, I don't like Cody. We all know that, but that doesn't mean I take the humanity out of it. That, I'm not that soulless. Okay. I can differentiate between pro wrestling character and human being, right? So I was genuinely concerned for Cody as well, but Kevin took some nasty ass bumps, and credit to both of them. Fun matchup. The one thing that I would say, and this is a running theme, but I'll say it because it continues to exist. Cody Rhodes' finish is sold as, and number, you guys know, it looks like crap because it's preposterous that there's any kind of pain being delivered to the person who's taking it, because clearly you're the one just taking a back bump. Anyway, the spot with Cody Rhodes hitting Crossroads on Kevin Owens. First of all, the crowd barely reacted because we're all educated to not be excited by one finish anymore. It takes 3 to 4. Yeah, this wasn't a match that you could end with pinfall, but still, hitting a finish in a ladder match should allow you enough time to climb the ladder. Well, his finish was so weak, and it's been diminished to just such a level that after Cody hit it, Kevin Owens got to his feet before Cody did. That's where we're at, guys. I mean, what? So, I just had to put that in there because it continues to be just an absolute mess of finishers. So anyway, really good match. No interference. Sami Zayn was there, but he didn't have any impact really on the match. That could still lead to Kevin Owens getting frustrated and turning on Sami for the 18th time, because sure, Sami didn't turn on anybody or hit anybody by accident or have any real impact, but that could also be something that pisses off Kevin. Is inaction is still an action. Therefore, you didn't do what I told you, and now you're going to pay the price. I think that's probably where they're going to go if you are indeed going for a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn program again. Now, Kevin Owens went for a package pile driver. I thought he was going to hit it. He didn't. So I was wrong about that. But a really physical... Could you imagine just for a moment being Kevin Owens' body waking up this morning? I mean, sure, he's a wrestler. He's sore and in pain all the time by default. But this just like rearranged your spine. Man, oh man. He was also bleeding on top of it. So, yeah. Little side note. Kevin Owens was bleeding. All right. So, let's get to the men's Royal Rumble match, which, as many matches do in the Royal Rumble PLE, have ebbs and flows and stories that start and stop and themes and alliances that start and stop. That's just the theme. And I think this matchup started out fun with Rey Mysterio and Penta. Fun. It's a matchup that I think a lot of us have maybe dreamed about. It is in theory a dream match. If you never watched any promotion other than WWE, though, you'd be like, who the hell is Penta? You wouldn't even know who he is. But crowd reacted very nicely for him. And Rey Mysterio and Penta had a fun interaction back and forth for a little bit. The handshake, the mutual respect, which made sense. And then Chad Gable comes out. Carmelo Hayes comes out. Santos Escobar comes out. So it's like the third luchador here. So very luchador heavy first half of this match. And then Otis shook things up. And he ended up... who did he eliminate? He put Gable in a torture rack. And Gable and Hayes tried to toss Otis over, but that didn't work. And then Braun Breaker. Okay. Boy, Braun Breaker had a night, did he not? One of the more viral clips of the whole night. Speed. Some YouTuber. I've never heard of him in my life. I do remember Randy Orton RKOing him. Now that they mention that, that's like one of his resume points. It's like a graphic. It's one of those accomplishments that they put on the graphic when you're being introduced. Somehow being RKO'd by Randy Orton at WrestleMania is an accomplishment. It's something you put on your resume. So that was funny. But so it's the only time I even thought about it. Other than that, if you didn't tell me that, I'd go, who the hell is this guy? I just like a lot of the current musicians. And yeah, I'm a millennial, but I don't know. Maybe it is my age or the fact that I just have other things that are more important in my life that I focus on, other than who's the top YouTube star or who's the top R&B star. I mean, that stuff I don't really care about, right, per se. And perhaps it's partially I don't care, partially of the fact that I've got other things in my life that are far more important. However, certainly an insanely successful star on YouTube. 30-some million subscribers. So kudos to him. But, Braun Breaker doing what he did to, was it iSpeed, something like that, whatever his name is. Oh my God. That, I love that. I doubt iShowSpeed. Yeah, iShowSpeed is his name. I very much doubt that he was meant to be hit that hard, or because you're risking injury at that point. And he actually had an injury to his leg. I mean, his skin was torn from his calf. They showed something after the match where his skin was actually like ripped. I don't know how that happened from the spear, but it did. But oh my God, that is what I want the celebrities that come into wrestling who don't take it seriously. I want that to happen to them. That's the bumps. You guys want to get in a pro wrestling ring? Okay. Here's the gatekeeping activity. Braun Breaker's going to spear you. And if you don't die, you're in. Braun Breaker, my God. Just literally, I haven't seen, that was a better spear. Maybe than any spear I've ever seen in pro wrestling. And the reason is because it was real. It wasn't really working together. It was just Braun Breaker flattening this kid through the earth. Rumor has it he's still plummeting to the center of the earth. We'll have to check on that. I think there might be a news update. I mean, he got driven through the ground. Oh my God. So, I don't know if it was planned to be that. I doubt it. But if it was planned to be like that, then I give iShowSpeed credit for taking a bump like that. I really do. As much as I'm, downplaying the fact that I don't know who he is and all that, doesn't negate the fact that if that was planned, I give him credit. All right. Continuing. Jimmy Uso comes out. He's number 10. Andrade, and then another side story that I was right about, and I'm glad I was, not because I can gloat about it, but more because it's something that is going to benefit him down the road, is Jacob Fatu at number 12. Jacob Fatu, as I hoped and as I predicted, had a hell of a night. The crowd they are fully behind him at this point. I don't care if he's with Solo. I don't care who he's with. He is going to get the support of the crowd. The crowd they've put their talons in him. They have identified their next star. Fans love that. It's kind of like Daniel Bryan in a way, although certainly not the same dynamic with the underdog. Not that. But when the fans can find a star that they know is in the making and they see big money with, they're in. And even Cole said, when Roman Reigns and Fatu went face to face, here's a future WrestleMania main event. It's possible. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so we'll see how Fatu does. That was, Fatu had a hell of a night. So one thing I will say just overall about the match, we've got a lot more to go through here, but there needs to be some kind of different format, some kind of different template used, because the template of throwing bombs, like the you throw a punch, then I throw a punch after a standoff, you throw a punch, then I throw a punch, and the crowd got exhausted from that after about the 5th time. Everyone was using that formula. Have they ever, have the wrestlers forgot about, a collar and elbow tie-up? A collar and elbow tie-up. Have they forgotten that they can still wrestle? And instead of delivering punches that have zero effect on your opponent, that, and not only that, but the only other format they used was when there was a standoff, who can punch faster and have no effect on my opponent. Nobody was selling any of the punches. at all. It was just who can swing their arms faster but not hit their opponent. That's essentially what it was. I don't like that. Because it's such an exposure when you're doing that and your head's not even moving. You're not selling anything. Or the bombs back and forth. Like, it happened way too much. Way too much. You could do a collar double time. You could do off the rope. Somebody goes for a clothesline and then bam, you go into your sequence. There's a million. I don't know what it was. Everyone was just directed. And anytime there was a standoff to do that exact spot the same way. But there's your complaint for everybody that wants to grab onto, I don't like wrestling. I had somebody on Spotify said that. No, he clearly doesn't like wrestling. I mean, do you know anyone that has done anything voluntarily for 30 years and not enjoyed what they were doing? I'm not saying, I worked a job for 30 years, I don't like it. Of course, we all have, most of us don't like the jobs that we have to do. But I'm saying recreationally, this is a recreation for me. It's not a need. I love doing this. It'd be pretty silly and counterproductive if I was to watch something that I choose to watch, that I don't have to, and then dedicate hours and hours a week, thousands of hours over my life to do this. That makes sense. But, okay, more to get to here. Ludwig Kaiser came in, and boy, did he have a disappointing night. Gets eliminated. Warlord, Santino Marella time, right? He didn't break a record, but it's kind of hard to break a record. I think Santino Marella may end up holding that record forever because you can't go in and out any quicker than Santino Marella did. I don't think it's humanly possible. Unless we're going to get into fractions of a second. I really don't know you can. So I think Santino might hold that forever. But Kaiser got eliminated for all the build that they've done and all the segments they've done with him and Gunther. Boy, that was disappointing. That was disappointing with Ludwig Kaiser. But okay, Miz comes out. Then we had say his name, and he appears. Here he is, number 15. He appeared in the Rumble. As I've been saying for 6 months? Perfect spot for him. The TNA World Champion. They did mention Nick Nemeth by name, i.e. Dolph Ziggler. So that was interesting because it's in a different promotion. It just still feels weird. But I love this working relationship that they have. It's a great relationship for both parties. TNA will never be a threat to WWE, and it's a great way to also give exposure to the talent that are on TNA, that you're like, oh, wow, Joe Henry's there. Let me go watch TNA. But the reaction he got was awesome. The crowd was just loving that. Number 16 was Roman Reigns. The crowd popped pretty big for that. He spears The Miz, and that's when we had the standoff with Reigns and Fatu. Then Drew McIntyre comes out, which, by the way, there's this story about Drew where he got super pissed off after the Rumble, legitimately. And I don't know if this is a work, shooting a work, whatever. Seems to be real that he got really pissed after the Rumble and left the arena early because he felt that guys that were in there were not doing what they were supposed to do and only worried about quote unquote getting their SHIT in. And then I don't know how true that is. There seems to be some truth to that, given that how do you work that into a story? You can't. If that's the narrative, you can't work into the story that Drew was angry. Like you have Michael Cole talking about Drew left the arena early. There's reports he left early because he was angry that the wrestlers weren't doing what they were told to do from Triple H's script. So, Drew was mad because they weren't following that and they just wanted to get their moves in, right? Can't do that. So more than likely, it's probably real. All right. Finn Balor comes out to absolutely no reaction. Finn Balor had nothing. A lot of it did have to do with the fact that he changed his music and people were like, who the hell is this guy? So that didn't help. But Finn Balor, man, even when they figured out who it was, they were like, oh, cool. Hey, it's Finn. I mean, but at this point, the fans are starting to lose their energy. And I'm sure that you international fans that are just chomping at the bit are looking at this crowd in Indianapolis going, oh my God, are they asleep? I actually enjoy it. Now, does it have to do with me being from the U.S. and partial to being from the U.S.? Maybe a little bit of, patriotic pride. But more often than not, I want to pay attention to what the hell's going on in the ring, make my own judgments, whether that's a good or bad thing. I also don't want to hear chants that have, to me, absolutely no meaning or that have nothing to do with what's going on in the ring and the fans are just doing it for their own sake to see how loud they can be. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that. To me, I prefer U.S. crowds, even Canadian crowds. Canadian crowds are fun too. For all my listeners in Canada, I really enjoy you guys too. But when you go overseas, I'm sorry, you guys it's just a difference in culture, which is all it is, and that's okay. But it's this crowd that just decides to, chant and cheer for everything that has really all your sports chants you do that have nothing to do with what's going on in the ring it's distracting. I don't enjoy my sporting events like that. And that's just all personal preference. And I'm sure you guys hated the United States crowds going, what are they doing? And that's cool. Again, all depends on what you're used to and, of course, where you grow up and what you like. So personal preferences, mine is the crowd that we had last night was good. I've certainly heard better. I'm not saying they were a perfect crowd by any means or some kind of template we should use going forward. No, they were quiet at times, but I wanted to point that out that I'm thinking, my God, imagine the people in France that are coming up. They got something in Paris coming up this year in summertime in the summer. They're thinking, oh my God. They're embarrassing themselves, right? Okay, so Shinsuke Nakamura also comes out to almost no reaction, sadly. And then number 20, Jey Uso. We'll talk about him. He comes out. And the returning AJ Styles. That was fun. Seeing AJ back was good. I was happy he was back. I don't know, again, if he's back full time. I would think he's back at least on a television basis, maybe not on a house show basis. But seeing AJ back, remembering back in 2016 how he debuted, all of his progress over the last 9 years. Wow, 9 years. It was fun. The fans were behind him, and he and Fatu met in the middle of the ring. That was a cool moment. Number 22, Braun Strowman. They said it was his 8th Rumble match. I was sitting there going, what? I was like, really? I mean, I guess that's true. They didn't ever give him like a one-on-one match, so putting a huge guy like that in the Rumble makes sense. All right, number 23, John Cena. Cole, of course, wet himself, talking about the greatest of all time is here. Again, he declares it as if it's fact. It's, of course, not. It's opinion. But we had number 24, Punk. Number 25, Rollins. Everyone just kept standing there, having standoffs, and the entrance ramp was 4.5 miles long, so it took them a while to get to the actually inside the ring, and they all had their moments of staring off at each other, and they kept waiting, and they built the next guy coming out, and the next guy coming out. And number 26 was Dominic Mysterio. After they did break down, though, by the way, punch and kicks, all the rest. Dominic came out, and then Sami Zayn comes out, hit haluva kicks on Rollins, McIntyre. The crowd was singing Sami's song. Number 28 was Damian Priest. 29 was L.A. Knight. Good reaction for him. And then number 30, Logan Paul. Good to see him in there. I got to say, I mean, you see him and you just go, man, oh man, this guy, if he does this full time, love it or hate it, is going to be a top guy. He just is. So, what happens here? Well, interesting dynamics here. So, here's what it is. If you didn't watch, or you just want a refresh of what happened. Okay, so we had Rollins hit Reigns with a super kick. Reigns moved, clotheslined him. Rollins held onto the ropes. But then Punk pushed Rollins and Reigns out to eliminate them both. Paul then eliminates Punk. And then Rollins and Punk fight on the floor. Heyman yelled at Rollins, who then stomped Reigns on a piece of the ring steps. He also stomped him on the just on the floor mat outside, I believe. Punk went after Rollins again, but he pulled him apart. Rollins headed to the back. Punk stepped over Reigns and walked past Heyman, who was on his knees concerned for Reigns. And then the final three were Cena, Logan Paul, and Jay, and we'll get to that in a minute. So before we get to the final three, a lot of people have speculated that this is leading to a triple threat at WrestleMania between Rollins, Reigns, and Punk. I will say I don't want that. The reason is singles matches between any of the combinations of these, preferably Reigns and Rollins, or CM Punk and Reigns, because we've already done Punk and Rollins enough. So it's either going to be Punk versus Reigns, Rollins versus Reigns, or CM Punk versus Rollins versus Reigns. And if you do the triple threat, what are they fighting for? You're going to take three big names like that and just put them in a grudge match? Now, you could, and maybe I'm perhaps, a bit poisoned by the idea that there always needs to be a championship on the line here instead of pride and just having the guy that you like win. But this, does seem to scream one-on-one, because I don't need, number one, Rollins and Reigns. I don't need Rollins and Punk, rather, in any kind of interaction anymore. We're done with that, at least for now, I think. But I could be wrong, and it seems like I might be. The real story here is I keep getting this messed up. It's Rollins and Reigns. Those are the two that I have been screaming for years have not had a proper finish to their program, even a proper program that lasted months. So it seems they're going that road. At least bare minimum, we're going to get Rollins versus Reigns. If Punk shows in the middle of this, I don't know how that's a favor from Heyman, because that's still floating around. So it's not a favor from Heyman to be put in a triple threat with nothing on the line. He could do that all on his own. So there's got to be something that Punk needs from Heyman that he can't get on his own. That, you would think, is a championship match. Both Rollins and Reigns have neither of those things. Or neither of them have that thing. So for me, Punk should step aside. Whatever favor he's asking from Heyman for should be for a championship match. It could be against Cody. That seems to be actually the more likely scenario. That it's Punk versus Cody for WrestleMania. I have no problem with that. That would be fun. Their promos will continue to heat up. And it's possible that CM Punk wins. Now you're risking babyface. Do fans turn on Cody? Are they trying to force the fans to choose? I would just let him go. I wouldn't have anybody turn, actually. Of course, I'd have Cody, but in the real world, they're probably not going to do that and just let the fans cheer who they want to cheer, and then we'll come out of it and they'll both be baby faces, But for me, Rollins and Reigns is a program that is so long in the making, with the storyline they have, with the background they have, with the Shield, and how that's where they began the Shield in Indianapolis. That's where they broke up the Shield, in Indianapolis. All great stories. All great promos. They're mature professional wrestlers now. They are fully polished. They know who and what they are. This is a perfect time to have Rollins versus Reigns. Now, again, what's on the line? Pride. You don't need a championship. Don't need one. That's what's on the line. So that's what happened. And no number 31. There was no Rock. That's the other one that I know that a lot of us were disappointed about. And is it still possible The Rock comes back at Chamber or after Chamber and has a last-minute booking into a match? Sure. It is. I had said that this will tell you whether or not The Rock's going to be involved in WrestleMania. I probably should have amended that and said it'll give you a pretty clear indication, but not a definitive one, that The Rock will or will not be involved in WrestleMania. And at least a official match. And after last night, the meter of Rock's, chances of going to WrestleMania have definitely cooled off. We're on the blue side of that meter. All right. The Rock, again, could come back at any moment. He could surprise us and bam, wham, or is it? No, it's wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. That's, of course, used for something else. But that's what they could do. And all of a sudden, The Rock's back in it. And so could they do that? Sure. But it's seemingly pointing that The Rock is not involved in WrestleMania. Maybe he's too busy being Dwayne. He's probably too busy being Dwayne. And that's very sad for us wrestling fans, especially after last year, where I felt like there was more story to tell. And there is with Cody, with Cody versus The Rock for the championship that they teased Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. We still don't know if maybe Solo was taking orders from The Rock for what he did, creating a second bloodline, and what's Solo going to do. So is it sad that The Rock's not there? Yeah. Now sad that we're not going to get Rock Roman? Yes. I would still like Rock Roman over any other opponent for Roman. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get there. No number 31, no surprise entry, no appearance, nothing. And I know the crowd was ready to explode, and then they didn't get it in there in Indiana. So, but we got down to the final three here, and it ends up getting Cena clotheslining Logan Paul over the top to eliminate him. And the final two were Jay and Cena. A lot of, pomp and circumstance and trading those blow haymakers back and forth, and Cena on the edge of the rope, and looks like he's gonna, get eliminated. Then he doesn't, and then Cena, ends up getting eliminated finally by Jey Uso, and the crowd seemed to buy it. The crowd seemed to be into it, and Cena did his best to look shocked that he lost. And more interestingly than Jey winning, to me, is the post press conference for the event here, where Cena said he's going to do something a little different. He's not taking any questions. He's just going to make a statement. And what he did was say that essentially, I deserve to be in the Elimination Chamber, and that I've earned that, and that it's what's best for me and the company, right? More specifically, the company. So he tried to deodorize what's really good for him with what he's saying is good for the company. Now, this could be evidence. Could be. I'm not saying it is, but this could very well be evidence for a heel turn for John Cena. When is the last time that you've heard John Cena say, I deserve anything? I don't think I've ever heard him say that in a babyface character. It hasn't happened. So could it just be him playing him, being himself? Yes, it could be, but it does seem very odd that Cena wouldn't take questions, and that he's saying he's just going to be in the Elimination Chamber without actually having to qualify. And just because it's his last run, all of a sudden he's automatically qualified. Well, if he's all about earning stuff, then you got to earn it. You don't have a lifetime pass to any kind of main event. Your name's not Bill Goldberg. You can't just walk on set and get the main role, or the lead role. That's not how this works. But I apologize. You probably hear my kid crying. But that's not how this works. And it is some evidence here that it could be a heel turn for John Cena. I'm not definitive on my answer on that yet. We'll have to see how his future appearances go, if he is leaning more heel or if he's not. But it does have evidence. I mean, Seth Rollins even had, what he did with Roman Reigns, you could argue is a turn to the dark side, attacking Roman Reigns the way he did. So Seth is probably more on that side than Cena is, but I don't know. It's something to think about. Now, here's how I think things are going to go out moving forward, at least from a big picture perspective. The details, anybody who thinks they know what the details are just lying outside of Triple H and his inner circle. The World Championship match. I think you're going to have Jay choose Gunther. He made it clear that he could beat him. Now, it does make me a little, and this is one of the biggest reasons that I didn't choose Jay is, look, he's a guy that does have the crowd support. I have no real big issue with him winning, other than the fact that, number one, we've already seen Gunther and Jay more than once. So, like, we've already seen this match, and yet you're giving it to us at WrestleMania again. Now, they can, build it in a different way that makes it feel like it's new in a couple months, and I think they'll do a nice job of that. But it's like we've already seen this. Jay lost clean. This isn't a guy that has been on the rise per se, that he feels like this is his shining moment. It's weird timing. I don't see him choosing Cody. But what if Gunther wins? Right? That's what I would do. Because the other part of this is Gunther's kind of in the same boat. I think a little bit further along. Clearly he is. But Gunther shouldn't be overlooked here. If you remember, Gunther was the longest running Intercontinental Champion. He's done a really nice job as world champion, although at times I think he's been off TV too much. And people are looking at it as the Royal Rumble winner should just automatically always win. Now, I'd like to look at the percentage of those who won the Rumble, what the percentage is of them winning the championship. I think it is a pretty high percentage. But I wouldn't always do it. For me, I would have Gunther beat Jay. They probably won't do it. Jay will win at WrestleMania. That's my guess right now. But I don't know why we're overlooking Gunther here. So that's, to me, a one-on-one. Could you insert Punk? I guess you could. Cena is going to go in the chamber. And he could end up winning the chamber and face Cody Rhodes. That would be fun. Because if you did Punk, well, then Cena versus Punk versus Cody for the WrestleMania main event, that'd be good too. I think, you're going to have a triple threat in one of two cases. I think Punk is the third man in the Rollins-Reigns match, or Punk is the third man in the Cena versus Rhodes match where Punk could be involved there. So that's my guess. Now, where does Drew McIntyre fit in? He could fit into the championship match against Cody. He recently transferred to SmackDown via this just open-ended, forever existing, extremely ambiguous transfer window. I mean, that's also possible. There's a lot of potential. Just because the Rumble has come and gone doesn't mean we have all our answers. Far from it. We just got the next chapter of the book. We're far from reading the whole book. So that's too many possibilities. Again, rabbit hole of possibilities, and I'm not going to go into all of them here. It'll just bore you because everyone's got their own theories. But that's my thought, at least in the World Championship and the WWE Undisputed Championship pictures. Intercontinental, I haven't really thought about yet. U.S. title, all that is probably forthcoming. And where does Logan Paul fit in? And does The Rock dare come back? All these things. I'm just going to leave The Rock out of it at this point because, even when he made his one appearance on Raw, we all know on the debut of Netflix, he was just Dwayne. He went from being one of the most successful characters that he's ever developed for his persona to just Dwayne pretending to be The Rock and congratulating everybody and kissing Cody's ass for some weird reason. Yeah, it was horrible. So, he didn't rectify it on the Royal Rumble, but I guess I'll just chill on his return until it actually happens. So we'll deal with the players we actually have, and there's a lot to look forward to as we get into now officially WrestleMania 41 season. We're there. We're no longer speculating. We're no longer looking at the horizon of it. No, this is now. We are in, guys, you and me listening. We are in WrestleMania season. So a lot to get through, and the Chamber is the only event. I don't think there's another event. I keep looking at the calendar. The Chamber is the only event between now and WrestleMania. March 1st in Toronto. The only event. So we go from, let's say, about 4 weeks to then, 6 weeks. From March 1st, I don't think, unless they shove another one in there that I'm unaware of, you go from March 1st to April 20th. Wow. in wrestling time, that is an eternity. So there's going to be a big gap there, but a lot of time to discuss it. Big implications, of course, from the Elimination Chamber with Cena involved and the other 5 guys who are there, who knows, but to be fun. Lot to look forward to, and the John Cena tour continues, which is good and bad, right? It's kind of sad, kind of nostalgic at the same time, and John Cena will never again be in the Royal Rumble, ever. So we got to see it for the last time. All right, that'll do it for me here on the WWE Podcast. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to all the new patrons who have joined us over the last week, or really last 48 hours for Royal Rumble. Hope you stick around as we continue to give you content almost on a daily basis for NXT and this particular review. Usually it's called the Week in Review, but with any PLE that takes place on a Saturday, we forego the review of the whole week and just talk about the PLE. But the SmackDown review takes place every single Saturday morning. The exclusive After Dark show that's only for NXT and above patrons are also available to you, and that'll do it. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time, and if you want to head on over to Patreon, get an ad-free experience, or Apple, both of them are ad-free. Thank you, everybody, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.